Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot. For today's pick a card reading, we have a topic just special for February. The topic is, as you can see by the title, what's next for you in love? So, we'll get kind of a glimpse into the future of your love life here, recent future. I asked Spirit to look into generally the next year or so from the time that you view this reading. So keep that time frame in mind as we go over your love life reading for today. But let's first pick our piles. Pile number 1s, I have the flower Amaryllis. For my pile number 2s, I have Red Rose. And for my pile number 3s, I have the flower Venice, Mallow. So after meditating on these piles for a short spell, see which one calls to you the most, and then drop down to the description box or the top pinned comment below the video to click on the timestamp for your reading, and I will see you in our discussion about what's next for you in love. Bye. Hello my lovely pile number 1s, welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what's next for you in love. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was the flower Amaryllis with the subtitle Determination and Creative Achievement. We'll talk about that in just one moment, but I do want to share the quote with you. At the bottom it says, "You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more you have," and that was by Maya Angelou. Okay. We'll set that off to the left here. We have some oracle cards that I already pulled, but I also want to pull for you today cards from tarot, and I also want to pull cards from Lenormand. So let's do Lenormand first. I'll do a quick 3-card reading with this. And then we'll pull some more extensive tarot cards for you pile number 1s on your love life in the next year or so. So let's pull that one, and I'm saying that one. And let's do this one right here. Excuse me. Set the deck off to the side. Plop the cards down, and then let's see if Spirit could give us about 4 tarot cards explaining your love life in the next year. Okay, well there's one. That one just kind of flipped right out. And then we'll pick, okay, well there's another one. I'm already seeing a positive sign here with the 3 of Swords reversed. So we'll just kind of set that there for a second. And then the other 2 cards, I would say, I think this one is calling our name, 3, and let's do this one for number 4. Okay. All right, my lovely pile number 1s. Let's take a look. Set your tarot cards off to the side for just a moment. We'll pull out your oracle cards. All right, so your Dream Ritual Oracle card over here you received today is Freedom. We have a hot air balloon soaring into the sky. Okay. We have 2 birds here flying up, freeing themselves from something. Okay. Your Nature's Whispers for today is be spontaneous. It's probably some advice for you, pile number 1s, but we'll see what the other cards say before I say anything conclusive, of course. Spontaneity is the key. Okay. We'll set these, we'll set the Nature's Whispers over here. Sorry, pile number 1s. You're usually kind of my guinea pigs on setting up the cards. And then, let's see, Lenormand we'll pull out first. So you received, reading them in order, the cat, lovely. The birds. And the flowers, awesome. Okay, so Lenormand, if you're not familiar with the system, I won't explain it in detail, but it's kind of like tarot in that it's a specific system of cards, but you read it more like a blunt sentence with each card as kind of a phrase in that particular sentence. So reading this together, pile number 1s, let's see, the cat is loyalty, birds are communication, and flower can mean beauty or gift. So in one sentence, your Lenormand says here, loyal communication is a gift. Or the beauty of loyal communication. The cat can also indicate a friend of some sort, so that might mean that this person coming into your life, pile number 1's being indicated here, is someone that starts out as a friend. You might even already know them at this point as you view this reading. And then your tarot cards are, your first one was the Four of Pentacles, holding back a little bit, maybe some energy of keeping things close, okay? It can sometimes be read as the stingy card, but in a love reading, I see that more is kind of keeping things close. We also saw the Three of Swords reversed. That's moving on from pain. Like I said when it first flipped out, it's a positive sign, moving on from pain. Recovering from pain, okay. And then your third card here is the Eight of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so typically in a love reading, I would read that reversed as a lack of hard work. So it might be something that slips into romance a bit more easy than you're expecting. Okay, or it could be asking for more work in this area. We'll also see what the last card says before I say for sure. And then you have the Hierophant. Okay, so the Hierophant is about tradition, the things that we pass down, old patterns, things that have been done before or done the same way for a long time. All right, pile number 1. So I get my ducks in a row here. Apologies for any silence and or mumbling as I look over your cards before I deliver your message for you. I mean, we already did talk about your Lenormand here. Like I said, that's loyal communication as a gift, or the gift of loyal communication. The cat or the dog in Lenormand can also indicate a friend of some sort. So maybe there's a bit of something that starts as a friendship here for you, pile number 1. So, okay. And then we have freedom, holding back, moving on from pain. And then the Hierophant. Okay, be spontaneous. And then, of course, your pile leader did say determination and creative achievement. You can't use up creativity. The more you use, the more that you have. All right, so pile number 1. So like I said, I'm seeing here for you the next step of your love life. So the next time the opportunity for love comes up, there's someone who is likely already a friend of yours at the time that this occurs, where they've been a good friend to you, they've been a loyal friend to you, and there's someone who is very loyal in communication to you, okay? And I'm saying that because of your Lenormand reading we talked about here before with the cat, the birds, and the flowers, right? And that's also just a very good sign, I guess is how I would put that this relationship will be fantastic with communication, or in the communication area, because you got the birds right next to the flowers. And, you know, the flowers can mean, like I said, a gift or something that's beautiful. So I don't know if in previous relationships there have been issues with other people that you've been with where communication was a factor and why the relationships didn't work out. But in either case, the way that communication will work in this relationship seems like it'll be a lot better than it has been in previous relationships. I do see that whoever this is, whatever this next step of your love life, pile 1's is, the person involved, I guess I'm saying, your partner in your interest, I guess I should say, is someone who's very good at communication. It could be that they do something in their day-to-day job that requires a lot of communication. Now, I know that applies to quite a lot of jobs. I mean, even, you know, those of us who work in, like, an office but aren't necessarily a speaker of some sort. Sometimes, you know, you give presentations. It could be someone who works as, like, a teacher or a professor, someone who, like, orates and is speaking a lot. Maybe someone that even does, like, teaching to other people, in terms of maybe not necessarily, like, traditional classroom setting, but maybe like traveling around teaching, or maybe they do online teaching, something like that, where there's a lot of communication involved and they're very, very good at it. If you're interested in astrological associations, I definitely see kind of Gemini vibes with that, just because of that communication, or just air signs in general, okay? Yes, very, very gifted at speaking. Someone who talks to you a lot, even probably in the stages when you're still friends before you become, you know, romantic partners, or at least that opportunity is available to you at some point, right? You know, and too, there's just a lot of air imagery too here with your freedom card, with the hot air balloon flying and soaring, and there's these two birds kind of flying in tandem together, almost synchronized up. I think you uplift each other a lot. That's maybe another sign of when this person comes along, pile number ones, is if with their gift of communication that they uplift you a lot. They might compliment you a little bit. That can also mean, you know, or be an association of the flowers we talked about earlier. You also just got a lot of flowers in general. Not just because of your pile leader, because that is a flower deck, but you got flowers here in the cat card. You got flowers in the bird card. And specifically, there's 3 different variants of the bird card in this particular deck. You got the one that is more like spring associated with lots of flowers, and you got the literal flower card too. That can also mean springtime in terms of timing, especially here with the flower card. That means like spring, at least in previous readings where predictions, I've seen how they've turned out. For me personally, that flower card tends to mean timing in terms of spring. So look to time of year as, like I said, spring for you. Could be March, April, or May. Even if not this year, perhaps next year, depending on the time that you view this video. This is technically going to be uploaded in a February, as a February reading, but so that could be in the coming spring for you, pile number ones, or the spring after, when this friend comes along. But yeah, I see kind of a friend to lovers type thing going on, uplifting each other. I don't know if some of you have been in a little bit of a darker time recently, or this person will have been in a darker time recently before they meet you, especially not just with the freedom card of like that feeling of uplifting, the hot air balloon and flying together, but the 3 of Swords reversed means recovering from pain, especially next to the 4 of Pentacles, that meaning the card of like holding things back. So it's almost like, you know, maybe the reason why you stay friends for so long at first is because this other person is holding back a lot because of the pain that recently happened to them. You know, it could be that they're just have recently gotten over a breakup and they're not quite sure they want to move on to a new relationship quite yet, but they are like kind of drawn to you, I see. So that's why there's a lot of initial interest there with just even maybe just being friends for a bit. But I think eventually, yes, it does grow from a friend to lovers type situation. And it seems very, very easy, too, with the 8 of Pentacles reversed. The 8 of Pentacles normally is the card of working hard. And it being reversed, though, can mean needing more work, or it can mean something being easy, that type of thing. Also, apologize for the sirens in the background. It's a little loud. It'll pass really quickly. Anyways, yeah, so the 8 of Pentacles reversed is something that's easy, or something that doesn't require a lot of work, okay? Something that, like I said, with it being friends to lovers, it seems like it'll just kind of like slide into romance pretty easily. It might even be a relationship where, oh boy, like, you might not even like kind of realize that you're dating until you realize, hey, wait a second, we're together a lot, and I think we like each other a lot, and okay, like, it's just very, very easy loving, pile number ones. Smooth transitions I'm seeing here. And then the Hierophant is interesting on the right here next to your Be Spontaneous card because, like I said when I pulled it out for the first time, the Hierophant is all about tradition. It can also mean spirituality. So it could be that you meet in a place of worship, depending on your religion. It can also mean that you share spiritual interests of some sort. It could also technically be that you guys meet at a job somewhere because you got 2 Pentacles cards, and the Pentacles cards are all about the material world being the Earth suit. So I tend to see those cards come up a lot in readings related to career. So could be you meet at a job, or you meet at some sort of like spiritual type thing. Could be like a retreat or like a place of worship, like I was saying, that type of thing, okay? Yeah, and I just kind of see not a lot of initial hiccups or anything, other than maybe, I know I said earlier it could be that there was the other person that maybe recently had broken up with someone and they were still processing some pain here, especially with that 3 of Swords reversed. It could also be at that time that you are the one that is recently recovering from a little bit of a setback or a little bit of pain. Maybe both of you, actually, but other than that, though, I don't really see any... Yeah, I don't really see any problems in terms of it starting out. It seems like it'll just slide into romance pretty simply and smoothly for you, pile number ones. And then the Hierophant too can also mean, like I said, yeah, spirituality, but it can also mean like traditions. So I don't know if you've known them for a long time. Could mean this is like a childhood friend of yours as the Hierophant, though I tend to see that more if that had been like the Six of Cups. Sometimes I do see the Hierophant as like something from an old pattern. Could have been someone that you met at a place you were at previously, but you didn't really know them very well there, like maybe a previous workplace or a previous school, that type of thing. But yeah, look for the spring. Look for someone who is a loyal friend. Look for someone who is a good communicator, someone who uplifts you when they talk, and maybe someone that's recovering from a little bit of pain at the time that this kind of springs up, okay? Someone who is, it's very easy to talk to, someone who is very, I almost get the sense too that they're kind of laid back. That could be some of that Eight of Pentacles reverse energy as well. And then you also have be spontaneous over here. So I think that's a piece of advice for you, pile number ones, when this pops up. It could be that you meet them at a time that you're being spontaneous or stepping into the energy of spontaneity. Like perhaps, you know, there's one night where you didn't really have any plans and then all of a sudden someone says, hey, you want to go here? Or you alone decide, hey, I'm going to go do this thing that, you know, maybe I don't normally go there, or maybe I don't normally like head out at this time or on this day of the week. But that's the time maybe when you see this person again, or when you meet them for the first time, if it is someone a bit newer in your life and not maybe like a childhood friend or acquaintance, like I was saying before. It depends. As a general reading, everyone's just going to be a bit different, but definitely the advice here is to be spontaneous, pile number ones. So don't be afraid when, you know, opportunities come along for you to try new things, or for you to try to go out places that you don't normally go, or more often than you normally do. Same thing too with it could be a quality of this relationship for you, pile number ones, where this person brings a lot of spontaneity to your life. You know, maybe they're a little bit, maybe you're more of like a planner type person and they're a little bit more spontaneous, and so they kind of break you out of your shell a bit, pile number ones, where they're the type of person that's like, you know, all of a sudden will text you at a random hour and be like, hey, let's go do this random thing I haven't mentioned before. But I think you'll enjoy being in each other's company so much that it doesn't even really feel like, it doesn't really like feel sudden. It's just that you're so excited to be together that, I mean, it might be pretty easy actually just to be spontaneous if it is this person is the one that's asking you to spontaneously do things because you do enjoy each other's company so much. Okay. Let's see if there's any other messages I'm seeing here before I pull some advice or further cards for you, pile ones. Excuse me. Especially at night. Don't be afraid to be spontaneous at night. That's one thing I'm hearing for you, pile number ones, okay? So nighttime activities. I think it might be you meet them at night, or you, if they're a previous acquaintance or friend, you see them again at night. Yeah, I definitely get spring vibes a lot too from this reading, not just because of Lenormand, but your Be Spontaneous card. I almost get the sense of like late spring for most of you, so keep an eye on that timing, okay? Yeah, and they might hold back just a little bit with that Four of Pentacles, like I said before, kind of holding your cards close, like I said, probably because they are recovering from some sort of pain here, but after that little bump, it seems like things will be pretty smooth and easy for you, pile number ones. Yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask Spirit if they can tell us some advice. I know we did talk about your Be Spontaneous card here, but I want to get some more advice as to how you can invite this energy, you know, more of this into your life, or kind of how to navigate this situation when it comes along, you know, should you choose to pursue a relationship with this person. So Spirit, for pile number ones, can you explain more about how to navigate the situation when it pops up? Maybe 3 cards. Okay, there's 1. Oh, okay, 3. Hey. It is always very satisfying when just the right amount of cards fall out. Okay, so number 1, we have the Two of Swords reversed. That almost tells me, that's more of a side note to your Be Spontaneous card, I think, but we'll see what else pops out. You have the Ace of Swords reversed. Okay. Could be some confusion or a lack of idea in some area. And then we also have the Hermit reversed. Yep, okay. So it's kind of repeated advice here for you, pile number ones, especially with that Hermit reversed. Come out of your shell. Don't be so homebody-ish, I guess is how I would put it. You know, I completely sympathize with being an introvert if you are an introvert, pile number ones, but to usher in this life or this romance, to usher in more of this, bring you closer to this relationship should you choose to pursue it, be more spontaneous and be more willing to step out of your shell and do things outside of the home, okay? That's what the Hermit reverse means. It means to go from a time of introversion into more extroversion, I would say. Like I said before too, with the Two of Swords reversed on the left, I think that's kind of a similar side note to the be spontaneous and also now the Hermit reversed, where so normally upright, the Two of Swords is about someone debating between a decision, okay? They have two paths they can choose. Two of Swords reversed is like an extra layer of difficulty of making a choice. So what I'm seeing as advice for you here, pile number ones, is to not hesitate, okay? When this comes along, don't hesitate. Be spontaneous. Accept invitations to places, okay? Accept new ideas, especially with that Ace of Swords reversed. Accept new ways of doing things, or you know, even could be with the Ace of Swords reversed, they're an invitation to be more willing to try new things in terms of hobbies, and maybe that will also kind of break you out of your shell and get you out more and about to meet this person or re-meet this person again, depending if you've known them before or not. But yeah, across the board, you know, repeated messages of just be open to new things, be open to spontaneity, you know, be open to coming out of your shell a little bit. Look for timing in the spring, like I said before. And one of your keynotes as to who this person is you likely have already known them in the past, is probably an acquaintance, I would say, either at a workplace or a place of worship or something spirituality related. And they're a very effective communicator, and it probably will start out as a deeper friendship before it does move into romance, if that is something that you're interested in with this particular person. And also just look for someone who really uplifts you, like I said before with your Freedom card from the Dream Ritual Oracle we talked about. Someone who uplifts you, someone who is stimulating in conversation, like I said, probably an air sign if you're interested in astrological associations. You know, Gemini is the main one that kind of popped out to me when I was reading your cards earlier, but could be any of the air signs, right? Let's see if there's any other messages I have for you, pile number ones, before I sign off for you. Let's see here. And looking back at your pile leader, we have creative achievement and determination with the Amaryllis. Let's see if there's any other repeated symbolism here. A lot of hearts. Especially you have the Two of Swords has a heart and your Three of Swords has a heart. And lots of flowers. I don't know if maybe they do buy you flowers, or maybe there's someone that's interested in more earthly things like gardening, could be. That might be where some of the flower association comes in, okay? Let's see if there's any other repeated symbolism. Sorry for any silence. It could also be that they're a very creative person, pile number ones, especially with creative achievement here. I'm getting a writer is the thing that's kind of popping out to me intuitively, but it could be any creative pursuit that they're into. Maybe that's one of the hobbies that you share together, or one of the hobbies that brings you out of your shell. Like maybe you say like you take like a painting or a writing class, and that gets you in an area or a place where you can meet or re-meet this person again. That type of thing. Let's see. All right. I'm trying to see any physical characteristics too. Maybe someone with a little bit of longer hair. That's one thing that's also popping out for you, pile number ones. Longer hair. Generally, I'm seeing darker hair. Longer, darker hair. Okay. Any others? And I don't want to say they're flamboyant. I just want to say that I feel like they dress very showy or like very smartly. Not in like a really like garish attention grabbing way, but they're very well put together too, is something else I'm seeing. They're a good dresser is a better way to, I guess, to summarize that, pile number ones. Good dresser, effective communicator. Probably more on the optimistic side of life. They're a bit more of a positive person. And like I said, probably longer, darker hair is another thing that popped out. Okay. All right, well, pile number ones, I hope that love reading was helpful for you. As always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number twos. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what's next for you in love. As you recall, you picked the very classic red rose with the subtitle Hidden Secrets, and I would like to share the quote with you. It says, 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth, and that was from Buddha, or the Buddha. I'm going to set your pile leader off to the left here like usual. We do have oracle cards. I also am going to pull some tarot cards, and then I also want to pull some Lenormand cards today for your love reading, okay? So we're just going to set the oracle cards down now for a second. First, I want to pull the Lenormand cards for you, about 3 different cards. Okay, that's like half the deck. I can't take all those cards. We're going to shuffle that again. Actually, we're going to do a full-on shuffle here. There we go. Alright, 3 cards. We'll see if some flip out, or, okay, there's that one. We have the lily, alright. And then, definitely that one's popping out, and then I would do this one. Okay. Set the deck off to the side. Okay, so we already got a little sneak peek at the lily. That was the first card, so I'm going to set that down on the bottom because I like to read Lenormand in sequence. And then your tarot cards. Spirit for pile number 2s, could you give me 4 tarot cards explaining about what's next in their love life here, please? Details about the person involved. Okay. Let's see what stands out here. I feel like that one's calling you. That one for sure just popped out. We have this one. And how about one of the back ones? Oopsie. Losing my grip on the deck. Okay. Alright, my lovely pile number 2s. We'll set these off to the side. First, we'll look at your oracle cards. So for your Dream Ritual Oracle, the first card you received was the card of Compassion. Oh, and you even have a heart there too. That's cute. Lovely. It looks like I believe it's a lotus blooming. Okay. Gorgeous card. And then your Nature's Whispers for today is Bountiful Harvest. Reaping the benefits of what you've sowed. Okay. Could also mean an indication towards autumn in timing, though I will also try to glean some timing from the Lenormand cards. Lenormand is usually pretty great about that in my experience. So let's look at those Lenormand cards. Speak of the Devil. So you have the lily, like we saw before. You received the star and also the owls. Okay. Or the birds, as it's known in most Lenormand decks. So Lenormand is like tarot in that it's a system, a little bit different though in that it's a bit more blunt, and you read each card kind of like a word in a sentence. So reading this all together for you pile number 2s is a love reading. Well, the lily can mean sexuality. It can also mean purity. It can also mean elderly, which I would take that more as maybe older than you in age, not necessarily like an elderly person depending on your age, but and then the star is like having hope or faith in something, direction, and then the owls are birds, which is communication. So in one sentence altogether, I would say I would almost read the lily as purity. So I would say purity is the goal of communication. Or let's see. Yeah, or pure communication is the key, or is the goal, the guiding factor. We'll see what other cards pop out, though. Let's set your Lenormand up here. There we go. Okay, and your tarot cards for today are, number 1, the King of Swords. excellence and external mastery of communication and thought and thinking and speaking and ideas. Sometimes it can mean ideas is the air suit, okay? We have the Seven of Pentacles, sowing the seeds. Might be kind of a connection to, like I said, with that bountiful harvest. Probably autumn timing. We have the Ace of Cups reversed. Okay, so maybe a little bit of confusion with emotions at first. We'll see. And your last is the Devil. Okay, the things that bind or chain us. Alright, so let me look over your cards, get my ducks in a row, pile number 2s, and let's see what your love reading is all about. Apologies for mumbling or silence as I look over your cards and interpret for you, okay? Hidden secrets. Okay, so one thing that's already intuitively jumping off the page for me, for you, pile 2s, is there's some aspect of this relationship, this next step in your love life, where someone is, oh, how do I put it? Someone is caring for the other person, and I think from that care it develops into the potential for a romantic relationship should you choose to pursue it, okay? And I say that because there's a lot with, especially the compassion card here. I see compassion as, you know, the card of caring, having empathy for another, right? But also the Seven of Pentacles, you know, typically, like I said, that's kind of a, you know, planting the seeds for the future card, working hard at planting seeds for something, right? But especially in the Shadowscapes Tarot, this particular deck, it almost is like she's nurturing this plant, this fantasy plant. She's kind of almost more taking care of something, that type of feeling that it's evoking that sort of caring. So I don't know if you meet them in some situation where maybe their career is something to do with taking care of other people, or maybe your career is something to do with taking care of other people. Could be that you or they or both of you are nurses or doctors, or could be like therapists, psychiatrists, some sort of, or it could be daycare too, childcare, some sort of career where you, one of you or both of you works in taking care of other people, and compassion is kind of the driving factor in that. And or there's some aspect here too where I feel like one of you is caring for the other for some reason, in a more like official capacity, a more professional capacity, but then it blossoms into a relationship, or at least the potential for one from there, is how I would kind of summarize what I'm seeing intuitively for you, pile number 2s. You know, and I say that because, too, like you have the red rose, and it says hidden secrets. And the quote from Buddha was, 3 things cannot be long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth, right? It's almost kind of like one of you or both of you is caring for the other in a professional capacity, but there's a hidden side to it where after a while, you know, feelings start to kind of develop here for you and vice versa. And then the caring becomes a little bit more serious, a little bit too more real in terms of not just being a professional thing that they're doing for you, but there's actual like deep heartfelt care there for you. And that's kind of where this romance, or this potential for romance, blossoms for you, pile number 2s. Like I said, timing wise, I do see autumn or fall, maybe late summer potentially. Lenormand, like I said, I tend to get my best predictions on timing from Lenormand. Especially with the Owls card, I do see that as, you know, kind of like an October-y card, like the trees in the background have already lost their leaves. Bountiful harvest, you know, autumn time is all about the harvest, and then also the Seven of Pentacles here kind of feels like a harvest card to me. So I would say if you're looking for timing predictions on this next step or this next phase or next potential relationship, pile 2s, look for late summer into autumn, maybe all the way into October, okay? So depending on when you view this video, I am uploading it in the month of February technically, but look to the next autumn or the autumn after that, because like I said in the intro, I asked Spirit for these cards to kind of predict a little bit more out from a year from the time that you view the video. So, of course, my readings are always timeless, so people are going to view them at different times. But next autumn, I guess, to summarize the timing, okay? Or the autumn after that. Yeah, and it's like, I feel like you two you're working through some harder stuff together first, you know, especially with the lotus here with compassion, because to my understanding, like lotuses and water lilies, they kind of grow up through the mud and then they bloom on the surface. So it's oftentimes, you know, that flower is symbolism for the beauty of who you are after times of struggle, you know, kind of like yourself blooming through the mud and then eventually arising on the surface and blossoming, right? So, you know, if it is that, you know, you're caring for them or they're caring for you in some capacity, maybe that's kind of the metaphorical mud that you're working through together before it gets to that point. And then it's rebirthed as like actual, true, deep, heartfelt compassion with the potential for romance there should, you know, you decide to pursue that with this person, okay? And then your Lenormand is interesting, reading it as a sentence, because like I said, I think it's like the purity of goals and communication, or like purity in direction of communication. So, you know, it might even be there's some point here where you start kind of wondering, well, were they really saying all these things to me because, you know, do they actually like me, like romantically, or are they just saying that because it's their job or that's kind of what their role is in my life? That's kind of where that maybe professional capacity comes in, where you're kind of like, okay, well, you know, I don't think they like me. They probably just, you know, they're being nice because of their job. That kind of first more rationalizing of why they're caring for you. But actually it does turn out, I think, here, especially with your card Hidden Secrets, the red rose that you chose for your pile leader, plus with your other cards, their communication is very pure with that lily pile number 2s. I think they, you know, they might even develop feelings for you a bit earlier, or you might develop feelings for them a little bit earlier than what is communicated to the other, though that does happen often in relationships. Usually there's at least one person who kind of catches feelings first, of course, but whatever the specifics around why they're caring for you or why you're caring for them, though, just know that their communication is pure the entire time, okay? Especially with that lily. That means purity, right? So I would say if that does come up, pile 2s in that relationship or potential for a relationship, trust in the purity of their intentions or the purity of their communication is kind of what that Lenormand card is saying, or reading is saying to you, okay? And then looking at your tarot cards, funny, we were just talking about communication because the King of Swords came up, and like when I said when I pulled it out, that the King is like the external mastery of their suit. So external mastery of air is the mastery of communication, the mastery of thinking. Definitely the King of Swords can indicate someone who is very logical, someone who speaks very clearly, someone who thinks very well or has really great ideas. So one indicator as to who this is, pile number 2s, is someone in your life who is very well-spoken, someone who knows how to think, very logical. It could be they like very logical pursuits. Perhaps that's kind of more a point in the favor of some of their hobbies, I suppose. And like for some reason chess came up to me. Well, I was like thinking, oh, like maybe they play chess. Like that was kind of thing that intuitively popped up for me, pile number 2s. But yeah, just very good communicator. You're almost kind of like pile number 1s that way. This potential romantic partner could also be an air sign, is another indicator. I'm getting the sense of a Libra. Though that can also mean other signs that are in the air suit, of course. So, if you're interested in the astrological connotations, pile number 2s. Let's see what else we can glean from your other cards. You know, the Devil is interesting because the Devil is the card of the things that bind us, like I said before when I pulled it out. The things that chain us, that trap us. It might be at first there's a little bit of a hesitation there in going forward with the relationship on their end because or pushing it into the romantic zone on their end, because maybe, especially if they're caring for you in a professional capacity, they might be kind of wondering, like, you know, hey, like, I don't want to, like, overstep over professional boundaries. I don't want to be weird. Like, I don't want to, you know, especially if they're taking care of you in some capacity, there might be a feeling of, you know, like they don't want to overstep that line, overstep that boundary, and so they might feel kind of like chained back at first with that Devil card, or it could be in that they're currently in a relationship at the time that you meet them, one that's maybe not necessarily so good for them, hence the Devil card, because that can also mean the traditional depiction in the original Rider-Waite-Smith deck is a pairing at the feet of the devil. So sometimes that can mean like a bad relationship. So it could be that they're not available right away, and that might be another reason why this kind of maybe takes a while to develop into the potential for romance pile number 2s. They might currently be in not a very good relationship, and then at least at the point when you meet them. But should you both decide to, you know, choose to pursue romance here, pile number 2s, it seems like that will free up finally, especially, and well, they'll get away from that toxic situation, especially, you know, after meeting you and realizing how much they do care about you with all these, you know, cards about, you know, compassion and purity of communication, right? Yeah, and I do see it kind of as a slow burn a bit, to use a literary term. A little bit of a slow burn, especially with Bountiful Harvest, because like I said, that does speak to me of timing with autumn. But I also see that as, especially next to the Seven of Pentacles here, it's something that you cultivate and you nurture very slowly. Not to scare you away from like, oh God, is this going to take forever? I think you do connect very well. So I think even if it does take a while to get to a romantic stage, if that's something that you do choose to pursue, you'll enjoy the time or like the ride or the journey there. It's just that it might take a little bit of letting the seeds grow a little bit before this particular relationship can blossom, should that be your choice. Okay, pile number 2s. That could also mean the meaning of the Ace of Cups reversed. I see that as the card of feeling like a lack of emotion in some area or a lack of new emotion. Not sure how to feel about something. So do keep in mind that there might be some hesitation at first from either one or both of you, just because of, like I said, professional boundaries. They might fear about overstepping those, or you might, they might currently be in a relationship that's not necessarily good for them, but they're not out of it yet, so they don't want to like pursue anything with you yet at the beginning. But just let things kind of grow slowly, see where things go, okay? There's a lot that they don't say about how they feel about you underneath the surface, pile number 2s, especially with that card of hidden secrets. But the truth will come out in the end, I believe, and everything that they do say to you, they do really mean with that purity of communication reading from the Lenormand cards, okay? Just kind of let things grow slowly and nurture things along, and be there for them when they need it, but just keep in mind that there might be a little bit of a speed bump at first, and then eventually that harvest will, should you choose to pursue it, be a bountiful harvest, like your card says, after those little teeny speed bumps are kind of overcome, okay? So, I also want to pull some advice cards for you, pile number 2s. Spirit, for pile number 2s, could you give me some advice cards on navigating the situation when it pops up, should they choose to pursue it? 3 cards, please, or so. Okay. Okay, well, there's one. The first card is the Emperor reversed. Okay, that can mean negative masculine energy. It can also mean lack of logic or lack of structure in an area. We'll see what else pops out before I comment further. We also have the Two of Cups. Oh, fantastic. Look at that. That means a happy relationship. Good harmony, okay? And we also have the Queen of Cups, being in touch with your emotions, mastering them internally, okay? Alright, so as advice for you, pile number 2s, in this situation when it pops up. How to word this. So I do think the potential for like a really good relationship is there, pile number 2s, especially with that Two of Cups. That is one of the, I would say one of the 2 best cards you can get in terms of for like a relationship in tarot. The other one being, well, the Lovers. But the Two of Cups also, I mean, you can even see in just the way it's depicted here, is harmony in a relationship, okay? Or harmony in a connection. So I think the 2 of you are a really, really good match for each other. I think you bounce well off of each other. You balance each other very well. Just, though, as a piece of advice, when the situation comes up, remember to be in touch with your own emotions internally. Keep checking in with how you feel with that Queen of Cups energy. Keep checking in on, you know, do I really like this person, or do I just care about them, you know, because it's part of what I do for them professionally, like, and I think eventually it will turn into, maybe there is a romantic aspect there where you do care about them more than just in a professional capacity, pile number 2s, but part of navigating this situation is keeping in tune with your heart during this time, especially with that Queen of Cups popping up, okay, because she's all about internal mastery of the emotions of the suit of water, right? And then we have the Emperor reverse. Like I said, when that first popped out, that's lack of logic, lack of structure. Just know that Spirit is kind of warning you that the beginning of this relationship might be kind of confusing. Especially, like, not necessarily that the other person or that both of you will blow hot and cold or kind of, you know, I think there will be a distinct separation of, like, a boundary there of respect and just trying to be professional, but it would be kind of confusing because I think sometimes there might be little hints, or like your pile leader says, hidden secrets that peek out, and you're kind of like, well, you know, I think they're just being professional, or we're just keeping that boundary here, but I'm really confused because it seems like there's not really any, I mean, it might even say that sometimes they say things that kind of overstep that boundary a bit, and then they pull back, and so you get kind of confused, and you're like, well, wait, is there something more here than there really is? So just keep an eye out for that when that does pop up. Pile number 2 is okay with the Emperor reverse. That's, like I said, about lack of structure, lack of authority. It kind of seems like, what's the best way to put it? It might be just a little bit confusing at first as to where feelings really lie, okay? But just know that there's a lot more bubbling underneath the surface than you know, especially with your hidden secrets, pile leader, okay? Yeah. Let's see if there's any other messages I can see for you, pile number 2s, before I sign off with you. I do try to at least kind of glean a little bit about physical appearance. Of course, as a general reading, everyone's going to be a bit different. Let's see if there's anything. I get the feeling they're very graceful in their movements. Not necessarily a dancer, pile number 2s, but someone who's very graceful. Very graceful in the way that they walk and the way that they talk. I get the feeling they're a bit soft-spoken too. Like, they're very smart and intelligent. Like, they're very well-spoken, but they're soft-spoken. It's kind of like that quote of "speak softly and carry a big stick." Let's see. There's a lot more power behind their words than what they let on, or what it kind of seems like at first. I also get the sense that they may be a little bit opposite of you in coloring. So it could be, and if you have like light features, they maybe have dark features, or vice versa. I see that especially there with the 2 of Cups. The 2 figures look pretty opposite of each other, but it's almost like yin and yang, where there's like a really good balance there. I think you complement each other very well. What else am I seeing here? Anything about hair or eyes? Let's see. Nothing about eye color. They might dress more in a way that aligns with their career or their job. So I don't see that they're necessarily, like, they're not badly dressed. I'm not saying that, pile number 2s, but they're not someone who, I think they care more about function than they care about fashion. Like, they're not badly dressed, but they're more, like, if they're gonna go out, they're gonna go in something that's functional rather than something that necessarily looks like super fashionable, okay? Perhaps a little bit introverted too, I see. Especially with that King of Swords. Just a very soft person. Very quiet, bit of a night owl, maybe. A lot of moon imagery is popping up, so I see that maybe it's a hint that they're going to be like a night owl. Let's see what else. So I guess just to summarize, physical appearance, sorry I was silent for a second there, I just want to see if there's any intuitive messages, but in terms of appearance, pile number 2s, look for someone who seems like they have at least 1 or 2, or maybe most of their features are opposite of yours, okay? I see a lot of opposites attract here, that type of thing. So that's what I would say to look for in terms of how they look, okay? But yeah. Okay, well, pile number 2 is I hope that reading was helpful for you. I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello, my lovely pile number 3s. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on the topic of what's next for you in love. As you recall, the card you used to pick your pile leader was Venice, Mallow, also known as the, I believe, hibiscus, at least the Latin name. Delicate, fleeting beauty, and I want to share the quote with you. It says, "When life is not coming up roses, look to the weeds and find the beauty hidden within them," from L.F. Young. So we'll set your pile leader off to the left like usual. We also have oracle cards. We'll get to those in just a second. I want to pull a quick Lenormand reading for you. And of course, we'll also pull tarot cards. So let's get your Lenormand cards out first. 3 cards for your love life. What's next for you? And like I said in the intro, generally this is going to be about a year or up to a year after you view this video. Of course, my videos are always timeless, but the messages reach you when you need them. But okay, so we'll pick those 3. And then let's take a look at tarot. Spirit, for my pile number 3s, could you give me about 4 different cards explaining what's next for them in their love life? What's the next step? Okay, how about this one, that one, and, I don't think that one's calling our name. Okay. Get my ducks in a row. Excuse me. Okay, tarot, Lenormand, and let's look at your oracle cards first. So, for your Dream Ritual Oracle, you received the card of Empathy. Beautiful. Having empathy, compassion, which another pile got actually the card of Compassion, but I always kind of feel empathy and compassion are hand in hand. And then your Nature's Whispers Oracle today is number 4, pause. Taking a pause, okay. Stop and smell the roses. Okay, and your Lenormand. Let's do that first. So, if you're not familiar with Lenormand, it's a system like tarot, but I always kind of read it more blunt. It's kind of more like a sentence, and each card is like a word in that sentence. So first up, you got the bear, the snake, and the woman, or feminine energy. Can mean like nurturing too. Okay, so to read this as kind of a gender-neutral interpretation here, pile number 3 is, so the bear is someone strong, can mean stocky, someone, can literally mean someone hairy, but, you know, so maybe appearance-wise, whoever this person is in this next step, or what's next for you in love is, maybe a little bit more stocky, or kind of a broad person, or more, can mean hairy, literally. That's like what I said, Lenormand can be a bit more blunt than tarot, right? And then we have the snake, which can mean also feminine energy, but reading it like gender neutral, like I said, I would read this in one sentence as a strong, Snake can also mean rebirth too. A strong rebirth of nurturing, I guess is how I would read that in one sentence for you, pile number 3s, especially reading it gender neutral. Because everyone is a general reading, everyone's going to be a little bit different as to who they look for in relationships, of course, but... And then also an indication that maybe this person presents as more feminine, especially because you got the woman card, you also got the snake, which can mean femininity or like a feminine-natured card, but then... the bear, though, can mean, like I said, someone more broad in body, more stocky. It can mean more hairy. It can also indicate a little bit more masculine. So, as we said, both having this very feminine cards and a very masculine card, it can also mean someone very balanced in both energies. It could also mean someone technically non-binary, having both, or kind of a neither energy there, right? depending on what you're looking for or who pops up in your life, of course. But yeah, reading that as gender neutral, I would say a strong rebirth of nurturing. Okay, and then let's look at your tarot cards. For the first card, we have the Queen of Swords, internal mastery of air. So internal mastery of the way that we think, the way we would direct our mental energy. Okay. A lot of air energy today in these readings. I guess a lot of you might be attracted to air signs if you're into the astrology part. But the Two of Wands reversed, something about being afraid to make plans. Okay. Not sure if we want to venture into the future. 3 is the Ten of Wands reversed. Lovely card to get. Releasing a burden. Letting go of the burdens that bind us. And then the last card is the Hanged Man. Shift in perspective can also mean self-sacrificial sometimes. Okay. So apologies for mumbling or silence, as I always say, as I look over your cards and glean the meaning for you. Pile number 3 is for this love reading. Definitely what kind of jumps off the page for me though first, pile 3 is with your Venice, Mallow, your pile leader. The quote says, "When life is not coming up roses, look to the weeds and find the beauty hidden within them." So interpreting that for your love reading, intuitively that pops out to me as it's coming from some place that you're not expecting. Okay. I don't think that when you immediately meet this person, I don't think they're immediately gonna jump out to you as a potential romantic partner. That could mean that, you know, maybe they're already taken and you know that at the time that when you first kind of meet them, right? It can also mean that maybe they just there isn't like a really strong initial spark there, okay? It's not like an insta love, you know. It's not like, if you've ever seen the Disney movie Frozen, it's not like Anna falling in love with Hans after like one day. This love is a little bit more, or this potential romantic connection, I should say, is a little bit more slow growing. It's a little bit unexpected. It's a little bit like, you know, sometimes when it comes to potential partners, some stick out like a really bright red rose, you know, in the middle of a garden, and some are more kind of like, you know, you might walk past them first and then realize, oh, hey, you know, kind of like what your Venice Mallow card says, look to the weeds and find the beauty hidden within them. There might be kind of a flower there that you didn't quite expect or you didn't notice at first glance, okay? So that's what I mean when I say that. So, you know, one indication as to who this is when this time comes along is they don't catch your eye right away, okay? There isn't an initial really strong spark there, okay? Now don't run away from the reading, because I hope, hopefully none of you are like, yeah, you know, I want it to be insta-love, right? Sometimes slow-growing romantic relationships are the best, okay? Slow and steady wins the race, as I always say. You didn't get the Knight of Pentacles, but that's kind of the energy I'm talking about if you're familiar with tarot, okay? And then you have empathy, you have pause. Yeah, it's almost like I see you, pile number 3s, where you didn't quite notice this person at first, okay? And then all of a sudden, there's some situation where you're together and you look over at them and then you realize, hey, wait a minute, I might actually like this person. Like, it's like you don't even recognize it yourself at first, pile number 3s. It just kind of comes out of the blue and you're like, wait a minute. Like, I didn't even know that that was a possible thing. I didn't even know. I think it's that you like them first, pile 3s, but it could mean that they could also have feelings for you, but I think you're the first one that kind of notices them, okay? Even though, like I said, it's not like an initial spark of immediate, like, you know, oh, I'm super uber attracted to this person, I want to be with them the rest of my life. You know, it's not like that within the first 15 minutes. It's more a slow growing realization, okay? I think the two of you, though, at first do connect or do kind of meet or interact with each other in terms of, you know, you got the card of empathy. So I don't know if you have like a similar situation that you've been going through in your lives when you meet, or when you met. It could be somebody you've already met now that you know in your current life, right? Especially too here with the bear and the snake and the woman or the lady, like I said, interpreting that gender neutral, I see as the strength of rebirth nurtured, or a strong rebirth nurtured. It could be that you're both at a point in your lives where you're kind of reinventing yourselves. You're maybe interested in things about learning about more about self-care or nurturing oneself or nurturing others. It could be something related to a career or a hobby that you do that is related to nurturing of some sort, of having empathy for others. I see that as, it could be volunteering. It could be a job where maybe kind of like pile number 2's, where some sort of healing or taking care of other people is involved, that type of thing. And then, like I said, physical appearance wise, look for someone who's maybe a little bit more broader or kind of stocky, or like I said with the bear, hairy, because literally Lenormand the bear can mean someone who's hairy, right? That type of thing. Maybe someone that's a little bit intimidating at first too, especially with the bear and the snake, because not only did you get the snake, but you got the specific variant in my Lenormand deck that is the fierce snake. Maybe some piercing eyes is one indicator of what they look like too. Piercing eyes, kind of an intimidating person. I don't get the sense that they're verbally intimidating. It's more just the way they looks very intimidating. Not that they look mean or anything, but they're more piercing looking, and they're more kind of yeah, it's piercing eyes. It was number 1 I'm seeing here physically for this person, pile 3s. Okay. Let's see if there's any other physical appearance things I can, oh, sorry, hit my table, that I can glean here. Oh yeah, you even got the lion and the 2 of wands too. Hairy can also mean someone with long hair or someone with very healthy hair. Someone whose hair is maybe a big part of their beauty to you. That can also mean an interpretation of the hairy part of the bear. Yeah, let's see what else we're seeing here. I think too, another indicator of who this is, pile number 3 is I'm being shown, especially with your empathy card up here from the Dream Ritual Oracle, I'm being shown that they're really good at showing you different perspectives on things. I think they're a really good devil's advocate. I think they're a really good person to come to when you want like an objective opinion. And I know that's not something that you can read like right off the tin with the empathy card, but I especially see it like intuitively with that being like a window. I see, oh, maybe that's why the Hanged Man came in. Because the Hanged Man, like I said, is all about different perspectives. Yeah, I think this person, pile 3s, is someone who's really good at showing different perspectives or seeing things from different angles. Yeah, there's someone who is very, they're open-minded and they're good about weighing objective opinions. It could be that you go to them a lot for objective opinions. When you know that you want someone kind of blunt and honest, and maybe that's another reason why they seem pretty intimidating at first, is because they are more blunt and honest, like not just in appearance and their eyes, but they're also just a very blunt, down-to-earth person, so sometimes that can kind of come off as, not off-putting, but people who are blunt and honest sometimes can be a little bit intimidating too, so that's another indicator as to who this is, pile number 3s. But yeah, I think you're both at a time in your life where you're kind of reinventing yourselves, or at least one of you is, especially in terms of like how you care for yourself or how you care for others. So like I said, that could be a job of nurturing for others, or could be some sort of shared activity that's about nurturing for yourself. It's like self-care related things. Yeah, that type of thing. Let's see. That could also be in the meaning of the Queen of Swords too, like I was saying before, like they're really good with objective opinions, because the Queen of Swords is internal mastery of thought. So there's someone who knows how to think about things very carefully. They might not be necessarily like a good speaker, not that I'm saying that they're a bad speaker, because getting a Queen of Swords is a pretty positive sign for someone who knows how to speak, but unlike the King of Swords, though, the Queen of Swords, like I said, is more internal mastery. So it could be that they're more quiet, but when they do speak, they are honest and they are blunt. And they are very, very truthful, is another interpretation, right? Yeah. And then that Ten of Wands reverse, too, is releasing a burden. Letting go of the things that weigh upon us heavily. Could mean that the self-care or nurturing activity or hobby that is where you meet is something where you unload burdens. I don't know if it's like group therapy or something like that, or you meet in some sort of It could be lightening the burdens of others. Maybe like volunteering was kind of one thing. I think I said that earlier too. It's like relieving a burden either upon yourselves or relieving burdens on others. Like you make other people's lives or you're making your own lives easier. That's another sign of when this is coming, okay? And then the Two of Wands reversed, like I said, is being afraid to make plans into the future. That probably is related to your pause card too, where I think you might also be, one or both of you is at a pause in your life. You're kind of looking to the future. You're kind of not sure. I get the sense of like a slowing down of energy. It could be that maybe one or both of you has paused your life a little bit to look into the self-care nurturing thing, you know, like say if it is like group therapy, for example, maybe taking a break from work a little bit to volunteer a bit more, or it's just like at a slower time of life here with especially the Two of Wands reversed and the pause card. Yeah. Kind of looking to the future and not being sure how to navigate forward. But that's how the Two of Wands kind of represents itself reversed. And then in terms of timing, pile number 3 is, let's see if I get a sense of timing. I feel like summer is depicted a lot in these cards. The pause card kind of feels like summer to me. And then also your bear card and your snake card feel more like summer cards, at least in terms of, well, even the background of the lady card too, it looks more like summer. There's green foliage in the background, so I would say look towards timing of this happening being around summer, okay? It could be depending on when you're viewing this. I will be uploading this in the month of February of 2024, so my readings are always timeless. You know, it's going to be a little bit different as to when you're viewing this, but look to the next summer or the summer afterwards. Like I said in the intro, I asked Spirit to kind of explain this next step of your love life within a year ahead of the time that you view this video, okay? Alright, anything else I can glean? I also want to pull some advice cards for you too, like I did the other piles for you, my 3s. But yeah, you're not expecting it. They don't immediately strike you as a romantic potential partner. You're both kind of working some things out in your life when this happens. You're both relieving burdens upon yourself or burdens upon others. And that's when you meet them, is there's a little bit of a pause in both of your lives, or at least one of your lives, okay? And they have piercing eyes. They're very intimidating looking at first. They might, how do I put it? They might have, I can't say it on YouTube, but you probably all know what RBF is. If you don't know what RBF is, look it up online. I get the feeling that they might have RBF a little bit, but they're actually very, very sweet and nice deep down. So don't let that intimidate you right away. But yeah. Also something with their hair, especially with the bear card. Okay. So let's pull some tarot cards from Spirit here for advice of navigating this situation should you choose to pursue romance with this person. Spirit for pile 3s, could you give me about 3 cards explaining advice on how to navigate the situation when it pops up? Oh, another intuitive thing too. The bear can also mean... Okay, so in Lenormand, the fish card, it didn't come out for you, but the fish card can mean money or the exchange of goods, or sometimes it can mean like food. So it might be that you meet over getting food together. This just popped out intuitively. I wanted to mention that before I pulled your tarot cards, before I lost my train of thought. Okay, Queen of Pentacles reversed. Lack of material security internally. Okay. We have the Ten of Cups. Oh, happily ever after. Lovely. That's very cute. And then we have the Ten of Swords reversed. Recovering from betrayal, or recovering from a time of pain, recovering from what you felt was like the end, but it wasn't. Okay, so let's see. Your advice from Spirit pile number 3 is navigating this situation should you choose to pursue it when it comes up. If you do choose to pursue it, I do see a lot of success with this relationship, especially because you got the Ten of Cups. I told pile number 2 is that there's 2 cards in tarot that I see as very positive love cards. So I technically lied to them. There's actually 3. The other 2, they got the 2 of Cups with 1, and then the Lover's card is also a great one. But the third one is what you just got, which is the 10 of Cups. That is the happily ever after card. I always see it as. That is the peak of emotional satisfaction in the cup suit, okay? So if you do choose to pursue this, I know initially there might be a little bit of hesitation because it's like, I don't think you'd necessarily see them as a potential romantic partner at first, but if you do choose to pursue it, I think it will work out pretty well with that 10 of Cups. That's a very, very good sign. So that's number 1 piece of advice to you, pile number 3s from Spirit is, I think you've got luck in your cards here, excuse the pun, if you do choose to pursue with this person, okay? Could even mean a potential marriage with this person, with the 10 of Cups. I also see that with the 4 of Wands, which you didn't technically get, but 10 of Cups I can see as a marriage card too, so lots of luck in this area should you choose to pursue, I think, with them. Happily ever after, like I said. Okay. And then the Queen of Pentacles reversed is all about feeling a lack of internal security, or it can mean asking for more of internal security. So one potential little bump in the beginning of this relationship, or at least maybe when it's at the point of considering transitioning into romance, right? Either one or both of you might have some insecurity issue. And I think that might be related to a betrayal of some sort that happened recently at the time of when this comes up. Because you also got the 10 of Swords reversed, okay? 10 of Swords reversed, normally it's the card of being stabbed in the back, right? Traditionally is how it's depicted, right? Reversed, it's about recovering from that time of betrayal, okay? So I think, like I said, one or both of you could even be the reason why you're looking for self-care or therapy together, or you're in like a similar therapy group, that type of thing. The reason why one or both of you are there is maybe because of hurt feelings in the past with different relationships with the 10 of Swords reversed, and feeling like wanting to gain more security there with that Queen of Pentacles reversed, okay? So just know that might be a little bit of a bump at first, that especially if one or both of you is suffering from some insecurity issues, especially after maybe they were betrayed in a previous relationship. Sometimes, in order to move on successfully and healthily into a new relationship, we have to work on those issues before we do so to give our best to the other person that we're involved in or involved with, right? So, if there is hesitation at first for them to pursue you, could be just because of that insecurity. Maybe they just need a little bit more time to be coaxed or be like convinced. I'm not saying that they're like needy in terms of like needing validation. I don't see that, but it might be that's just one little bump at the beginning of they might not even really trust relationships at first because of that 10 of Swords reversed energy of recent betrayal of that they're recovering from. And maybe that's part of the reason why you do work so well together if you do choose to pursue this. Why there is 10 of Cups energy here is because you help each other recover from prior betrayals and proving to each other that a good relationship can exist there. A 10 of Cups can exist in life. It's not just, a fantasy or a dream, okay? That type of thing. Let's see if there's any other pieces of advice for you, pile number 3s, before I sign off with you today. Yeah, just look for someone with, like I said, piercing eyes, something with their hair, a little bit intimidating at first. Someone you don't notice right away as a potential romantic interest, but they might, after a while, it's like, wait a second. Like, wait a second, I've caught feelings. Oh no. No, it'll be good. If you do choose to pursue it, I do see success there with that 10 of Cups, like I said before, that type of thing, so. Alright, well, I believe that is all I'm seeing for you, pile number 3s, on this topic. So, as always, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day. I hope the reading was helpful for you, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye.